We'll call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
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 Roll call, please.
Allen. Here. Green.
Here.
LaFleur.
Here.
Mistrovich.
Here.
Reindell.
Here.
Ricks.
Here.
Warren.
Here.
Good to see everybody here tonight. We just came out of our first part of our workshop meeting for the last hour, and we're into our regular city council meeting. Is there approval of minutes for the city council meeting of January 7th?
I'll make the motion.
Support.
What's been made and supported? Is there any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We move on to audience comments on any non-agenda items. If anybody would like to address the city council, we ask that you come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Okay, we'll move on. Adoption agenda, Mr. City Manager, any changes?
No changes.
City Council, any changes? Motion to accept the agenda as presented would be in order.
Make the motion.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. There is no discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We move on to our public hearing for the fiscal year 2019-2020 Community Development Block Grant, otherwise known as CDBG funds. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to have a public hearing regarding the distribution of our fiscal year 2019-20 Community Development Block Grant allocation. Our CDBG allocation for 1920 is estimated at $19,468. Of this amount, 25%, or $4,867, may be used for public service projects, and an additional set aside of $300 for the county chore service program has already automatically been deducted. Thus, the usable amount for public service funds is $4,567, and the amount for the non-public service projects is $14,601. And we would need a motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing for the use of the fiscal year 2019-2020 CDBG funds at 7:06.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any concern or comments? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Mr. City Manager.
Time is now open for anyone that wants to come to the podium and make public comment.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
My name is Melissa Coleman. I'm the Interim Shelter Director in Crisis Service for Turning Point, the domestic violence and sexual assault shelter in Macomb County. So I'm honored to be here today. Just want to thank you all for your time. I am here to request $1,000 from the City of Richmond through the Community Development Block Grant. Last year, Turning Point took over 10,000 phone calls for individuals in crisis. As far as our shelter program, we served 516 individuals, with 260 of those being adults and 256 being children. Turning Point provides comprehensive services to survivors of intimate partner abuse and sexual violence. All of our services are free. In the shelter program specifically, we provide all the daily needs, meals, food. We have a personal protection order office at 40 North Main, which is the Mount Clemens Court, Macomb County Court building. We have legal advocates. We also have the forensic nurse examiner program which helps law enforcement provide sexual assault kits and rape kits. I do have some pamphlets I would like to give, just in case anyone wanted to look at them. We greatly need this money to continue our mission to end domestic violence and sexual violence in our community. So I just want to once again just thank you all for your time. And then I can answer, or to the best of my ability, try to answer any questions anyone might have.
Is there any questions? We're all set. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Lori Stevens, and I'm the Community Outreach Director for the Macomb County Warming Center. And we are an emergency homeless shelter servicing Macomb County. Our warming season starts in November and ends in April. So far this season, we have provided roughly 390 shelter nights and have served over 500 meals. Our shelter is necessary to give our homeless a safe and warm place to sleep, and we do not turn anyone away. We do not require any drug testing or background checks, and because of this, to keep a safe environment in the shelters, we employ trained security staff who ensure the safety of all the people there. We also provide help and services through the Ray of Hope Day Center. This is where we bridge the barriers the homeless are facing. We help them obtain valid state ID, birth certificates. We help with transportation. We provide bus tickets to job interviews or appointments. We help guests connect with resources and federal funding that they may be eligible for. For example, we see many senior citizens that don't know they qualify for senior housing. So we're able to help in that capacity. Tonight we're asking for $3,000, and that money will go for the housing, the feeding, the laundering of the dirty clothes that we see, and just overall helping the homeless. We are a rotating shelter. We offer 20 weeks in our network of 19 churches. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? We're all set.
Okay,
Thank you. Anybody else?
My name is Sherry Miller, and I'm the intake coordinator at Care House in Mount Clemens. We're a children's advocacy center, and our services are focused on child victims of sexual abuse, physical abuse, and also children who may have witnessed a violent act. We also focus our services on the non-offending family members of these children. We collaborate with all law enforcement jurisdictions in Macomb County, as well as FBI, Homeland Security, and ICE. We also work with Children Protective Services, the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office, and mental health professionals and other welfare agencies as determined by the case. When law enforcement has an investigation that involves child abuse, whether it's sexual or physical abuse, they bring the child to Care House for the forensic interview. This allows the child to come to a child-friendly place to be interviewed by a one person in a room, one-on-one, instead of having to go to a police station to be interviewed, and then perhaps to the CPS office for an interview, to foster care for an interview. All these disciplines meet at Care House for that child forensic interview, so if there are any questions at the time of that one interview, they can ask the interviewer that question and get clarification at that point, eliminating the child having to talk about what may have happened over and over again. Over 90% of child victims know their abuser. Those who molest children look and act just like everyone else. Abusers can be neighbors, friends, coaches, teachers, clergy, parents, or other family members. They can be adults or children, men or women. The children we serve at Care House come from every community in Macomb County, and they were spared the trauma of multiple interviews and provided with the tools they need to help them heal and move forward. After the forensic interview, we also provide follow-up services for the children and their families. We offer crisis counseling, parent and child support groups, trauma-focused therapy sessions, child safety assessments, family advocacy, access to forensic medical examinations, and referrals to other needed community services and resources that the family may not already be aware of. Families are never charged for the services they receive at Care House, and we provide services to all referred children and their non-offending family members. I'm also proud to report that according to our most recent independent financial audit, 86 cents of every dollar that comes to Care House is specifically devoted to serving the children and the families in our community. In August, we opened up a satellite office due to the demand of our services. Our new satellite office is located in Warren, and it allows us, after 22 years, to provide more than just one child forensic interview at a time. And it also allows us to provide counseling and support groups to the southern communities in Macomb County that may not have the transportation required to make it all the way to Care House to take advantage of the services we provide. Since 1996, when we opened, we have provided over 7,100 child forensic interviews. 41 of those children have resided in the city of Richmond. In 2017, we provided 605 forensic interviews. One of these children lived in the city of Richmond. Last year, in 2018, we provided 753 child forensic interviews. One of those children reside in the city of Richmond. I'd like to request $600 from the city of Richmond tonight out of the CDBG funding. This would provide services to one child from the city of Richmond for 2019-2020. We're very grateful for your support in the past, and we hope we get your support for the upcoming year. May I answer any questions?
We're good.
Okay, thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Anybody else? Okay. Motion to close the public hearing would be in order.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for the use of the fiscal year 2019-2020 CDBG funds at 7:15 p.m.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. The public hearing is closed for the Community Development Block Grant. We move on to items for consideration, which we have 7 this evening. The first one is consideration of fiscal year 2019-2020 CDBG allocations. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to review and approve the 1920 CDBG funding allocation. We've heard from several of the nonprofit groups seeking funding for the public service funds that the city has. City administration also put together a recommendation for the kind of the bricks and mortar or community projects. We're recommending that on that side, $14,601 be allocated to upgrade the doors here at City Hall. As many of you remember, the last couple of years we've been finding it kind of harder to use our bricks and mortar funds within the community. We've been targeting the ADA ramps around town that aren't in compliance, but looking at some of the projects that we have in some of the other communities have been using their money for. We felt the automatic door openers at this facility would benefit everyone. We have many seniors that have difficulty with the double doors coming in. We also have some people that are in wheelchairs that aren't able to negotiate those doors. So kind of our plan for the next 3 years is for the bricks and mortar to kind of upgrade the entryways here at City Hall, then the senior center, then the library. So that's the bricks and mortar side of it. On the public service side, for several years, we've always used at least a portion of our money to fund the senior coordinator. Our recommendation was $4,567 towards that. However, in the past, the council has chosen to reduce that amount to fund some of the requests that they receive at the meeting. So in that case, if you're going to do that, when you look at the motions, rather than making that first motion, motion number 1, you would make motion number 3, and you would just need to designate what your funding is going to go to. Again, motion 2 would stay the same as the bricks and mortar.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Kick this off.
Okay. Mr. Mayor,
You can state whatever motion you'd like in any order that you would like. Am I correct?
Correct,
Yes.
yes. Yeah, you could start with motion 2 and get it out of the way if you wanted to do that, and then go to however you want to do the other motion.
okay, I'll make a motion to allocate $14,601 of the fiscal year 2019-2020 CDBG funding towards the installation of 2 ADA self-opening door operators for the main entrance of City Hall in the amount of $13,700.
Support.
What's been made and supported. Discussion? I think it's a great project.
Yep.
You know, I think it's badly needed. You know, the older you get, the more you find out how hard some of these doors are to open, you know. And we definitely have some large doors also, glass doors that are very, very heavy. And it's a good project, I think. It's a great project.
Yeah, just one more thing to add to that, Mr. Mayor. We seem to be using the CDBG funds every single year for specifically, it's great that we're just systematically working through all these projects that we have through the city, and this is a fantastic thing to do as well. I can completely agree.
Anything else? Any audience comments on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We now have the monies allocated from the public service projects. We have a couple of motions there that are possible. Does anybody care to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion for the fiscal year 2019-2020 CDBG funding to the following public service programs. For the Parks and Recreation, $3,167. To Care House, $600. To the Macomb Warming Center, $300. And to the Turning Point Domestic Abuse Shelter, $500. And that would give it a grand total of $4,567.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Let us digest that a little bit. So that was $1,400. Okay, which comes out to the 4,000, what's available to us then?
Yes.
Okay,
And I based that number, Mr. Mayor, off of last year we gave $3,186 to the senior coordinator, and so I figured we'd give somewhat of the similar, because that was fine according to our budget last year, and so that remaining money to those other programs.
okay, very good. Any discussion on this? I'd like to add that years ago, we had a lot more money to work with, and we were able to give much more money. That money is now being retained by the county, as I'm sure you people well know that. We have very little that, as you can tell, to play with, so to speak, to give to your various businesses, which are badly needed things. I heard one person, say one person from Richmond used their service. The fact that that one person, it's probably worth way over the $600 that we are considering allocating to that particular group this year because of what it's done for that person and how many more. And the chief is here tonight. I don't want to put you on the spot, Chief, but last year I think we put somebody on the spot and we wanted to know just what type, are we sending people to Turning Point?
Absolutely. I mean, we get to a certain point in police work where we have victims of crimes, Turning Point, or homeless people, SANE, the nurse examiners program, Care House, for the forensic exams. We have tons of complaints that come in here, and we're at a loss of where to send them. These resources are our only hope, to send them somewhere where they can get the kind of help and care and also the investigation of the facts. And these are resources that we can't duplicate here, and we can't do business without them.
Very good, very good. Okay, any other discussion on this? Any comments from the audience? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We have one more motion. Well, actually, you put that
I
all
did.
into
All
one.
in one, yep,
Right.
we should,
Okay, and legally, should that,
nope, that's,
is that legally okay with
yep,
CDBG?
yep, that other,
Lisa's
that motion
motion
3, you could kind of do that. You could keep adding as many as you needed. Yep.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, very good. Moving on. Item number 2, consideration of Richmond Area Chamber of Commerce special event request, Winterfest. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider a special event request from the Richmond Area Chamber of Commerce for the placement of the ice sculptures and their stands for their proposed winter festival, which begins Friday, February 15th. This is also in honor of their 40th anniversary.
Thank you. Would either one of you like to go right ahead?
Good evening, everyone. We're excited to be able to do our 40th anniversary and the Ice Festival all together. We are going to have 40 ice sculptures throughout the town to help our celebration, putting them out on the 15th of February. And then on the 16th of February, we are going to have a double feature movie at the high school auditorium for the kids, along with Ackett's Soup and Chili available for them, and horse and wagon rides. So we're very excited to offer this to the community again this year, and hope that you take into consideration to let us do that. Also, on a sad note, I would like to tell you that our director is retiring. So we will probably be looking for another director, and but she's done a wonderful job for us the past 6 years, 6 years. Yes, it's been a nice long time, and we are sad to see her go. But she's said, "I'm retiring." I said, "Okay." So if you have any questions,
Any questions? I think we're good.
all right. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the special event request to allow the Richmond Area Chamber of Commerce to place stands throughout town for ice carvings associated with Chamber winter event on Friday, February 15th.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Any audience comments? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Good luck. And Jill, thank you for your service for the last 6 years. I know you sat on some of our boards also throughout the years. We appreciate your time. Moving on to item number 3, consideration of Richmond Girls Fast Pitch Association banner request. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider a request for an across-the-road banner from the Richmond Girls Fast Pitch Association for a banner announcing their registration event. This is the second request for this particular banner. They had it up previously, I believe, in November. This current request, due to the fact that they still need to bring people in for registration, would be to have it displayed Monday, February 11th through Monday, February 18th.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the special event application from RGFA to have an across-the-road banner in conjunction with the registration to be displayed Monday, February 11th through Monday, February 18th.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, any audience comments? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 4, consideration of approving resolution number 2019-1, contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation for the Division Road West City Limits to East City Limits project. Mr. City Manager.
My apologies, I'm kind of working on the motion. The city has received Transportation Improvement Program funding for the mill and overlay of Division Road. Construction is scheduled to begin the spring of 2019. Federal funding requires that the project be administered through MDOT, and the funds will be received and distributed by MDOT. The city has also received and reviewed the contract that's in your packet. The actual motion to adopt that contract and designate the city manager and city clerk to sign is in your packet. The motion should also state to adopt Resolution 2019-1 and designate the city manager and the clerk to, as individuals authorized to sign that contract. So I apologize that the motion that's in front of you should say, motion to adopt Resolution 19-1 and designate the city manager and city clerk.
Anybody care to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to adopt resolution 19-1 and designate the city manager and the city clerk as individuals authorized to sign the contract between MDOT and the city of Richmond.
Support. Motion been made and supported. Any other discussion?
Nice to see you getting done.
Pardon me?
Nice to see you getting done.
It's going to be great.
Yes, I'd just like to commend, Jim Getzinger has been attending the Federal Aid Committee meetings down in Macomb County and has been able to get us money for resurfacing Division Road from city limit to city limit. At pretty much, I think it's 80% federal and 20% local. So we're working on Ridge as well for the future.
Very good.
On the east end, is there any discussion on widening that very narrow area?
Well, as part of this project, no, we did not. I mean, the intent was to try to get the money that we felt was available to resurface the road. I guess I wasn't aware of, the project itself stops at the tracks. That's where our jurisdiction ends. So if you're referring to on the other
A
side.
little bit, yeah. I was thinking of
Yeah,
went
that's-
down a little bit further.
That's really the county's,
Okay.
And it's St. Clair County.
Yeah.
well,
No?
no, actually technically that is
Not ju-
Macomb
not
County.
Comb on the one side.
You get out by Ellis's.
Yeah.
Isn't that where the narrow is, though, by the Ellis's?
No, Narrow
No.
starts right on the east side of Howard Street.
Yeah.
Oh,
At Weeks's?
I see what you're
Yeah.
saying, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, half of that,
About that one.
not
Yeah, that
quite
one
half
spot.
of it is Macomb
That's something
County,
we
the
can
other
make-
half is St. Clair County.
Macomb
No, that's
County
fine.
aware
I was
of,
just
but
curious.
Yeah, it's
I'm
outside
aware.
our jurisdiction, so. yeah.
Gotcha.
And one of the conversations that are going on also is how is the trail going to meet St. Clair County's trail? And one of the ideas is right
That
there on
area.
that side, to possibly utilize that. So they're going to be coming to council on the second meeting in
Yes.
February to
18th.
talk
Yeah.
about that. So
Okay.
there may be, maybe in the future, a bike lane or a path lane there also. Anything else, council? Any comments from the audience? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 5, consideration of approving resolution number 2019-2, support of countywide 911 phone surcharge. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider a request to adopt Resolution 2019-2, a resolution supporting increasing a countywide 911 phone surcharge. For the past year and a half, former Macomb County Emergency Management Director Vicki Wolber has been working on a proposal to the Macomb County Board of Commissioners to establish a 911 surcharge that is placed on phone lines here in the county. One of the things that she's been able to find in her research is the Macomb County is the only county in the state of Michigan that does not have a county-wide phone surcharge. They're requesting a 42-cent per line per month charge, which your bill would go up roughly $5.04 annually. Again, you're not approving this increase. You're just passing a resolution that Vicki could take to the County Board of Commissioners showing those communities that have public service answering points or PSAPs like our dispatch center that were in support of this proposal.
Thank you.
And Chief Tusky is here to answer any questions. I know the Macomb County Chiefs of Police Association are in support of this as well.
Anything to add right now, Chief?
Other than the Macomb Fire Chiefs has also endorsed this, so, I mean, it's a county-wide support thing. It's gonna benefit all the PSAPs, including here, as we chase training and the technology, it's, and less drain on the general fund. This is funds that'll be used for those purposes, so.
Very good. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2019-2, a resolution supporting increasing the countywide 911 phone surcharge.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? People are going to ask why, of course, we would support a surcharge, an increase in surcharge. I know when we moved over here from Old City Hall a few years ago, we had a huge expense in bringing 911 over to this building. And I believe I've seen costs just to keep our 911 up to standards. Each year, it seems as though we have to do something with the 911 enhancements and whatnot. So that's coming right out of the general fund, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so this would help us as far as being able to maintain our own dispatch here in Richmond and continue to be having the state of the art. At least 2 years ago or so, we were state of the art 911. We had
And on the horizon is the NG, the next generation 911, which is fiber optics. The state is gonna pay for that, but the actual touching our 911 councils and that is the expense that we'll have to bear. So these funds will have that more than offset those costs that we're gonna, if we wanna stay current.
Good, okay. Very good. All right, any other discussion? Any audience comments on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 6 is consideration of appointment to the Personnel Board. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider making an appointment to the Personnel Board. We have received one application for a vacancy from Kevin Misch.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to appoint Kevin Misch to the Personnel Board to fill an unexpired term with the expiration date of December 31st, 2020.
Support.
What's been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Kevin Misch happened to be at the tree lighting and Santa Parade. We happened to twist his arm that night, literally.
The next victim.
To get him to do this. I think he's going to be great at this. Kevin has been employed in the municipality, and I think his experiences there with the union that he has there and just generally the municipal background that he has had will, if there's ever an issue that needs to go to personnel, he's going to have a great understanding of what they're talking about. So I think I'm really happy that he put his name in. There was a few of us there that were twisting arms that night, so his arms. So I was glad to see that he did this and appreciate the city manager sending that application over to him. Anything else? Any audience comments on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. We thank Kevin Misch for doing that. Our last item is consideration of Callahan's Kid Castle plaque. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to consider approving the purchase of a plaque for the Nicholas Callahan Memorial Kids Castle at Girk Park. During our recent park walkthrough this past fall, one of the things we identified when we got to Girk Park was the need for a sign over there. I know through the years there's been lots of discussion on signage. With the number of years past, we kind of came up with more of all-inclusive wording for the plaque, and our recreation director worked with Yvonne at Laser Market to come up with kind of a design that incorporated a castle into the plaque itself, so kind of further going along with the theme. Rec director Margo Van Hove also took that mock-up of the plaque and provided it to the family who really liked it. That came back to the rec board, who made the recommendation to the city council to approve the purchase.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to recommend that the City Council approve the purchase from Laser Market for the Nicholas Callahan Memorial Kids Castle at Girk Park in the amount of $2,190, with the expense being charged to the Capital Improvements Department in the general fund.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Any discussion?
I don't know who came up with this wording, but it's beautiful. The loving memories never die. As years roll on and days pass by, in our hearts a memory is kept of ones we love and will never forget is beautiful. I don't know who did that, but it was very moving, and I appreciate it.
I agree. It's very nice, very fitting plaque. Originally, when this terrible accident happened, the community came out in droves to support the expense of bringing that kids' castle to fruition. I think we've gone through at least two, if not, well, three, probably at least three Park and Rec directors who have tried to.
We're on to our fourth. The
Yes.
one
Yeah, we're on
who
our fourth.
actually started the project as a volunteer. After the project was done, then became our rec
Then
director.
became, okay,
So she was
okay.
actually working as a volunteer when she worked with the family on the project. Became a rec director, then we had two after her, prior to now Margot's the
Now
fourth.
Mario,
so-
so we've had four.
Yep.
So, it's nice to see that we finally could, get this taken care of. It's been a
Yep.
long time coming.
Yes.
And it's very appropriate what has been designed here. Can we give you credit for that, Yvonne? You did a nice job. You did a very nice job. Okay, any other comments, council? Any other audience comments on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. I'm sorry, I should have asked for a timeline. Do you have any idea?
I don't. I'm going to call Yvonne tomorrow and find out. Yeah, we've reached out to several people on trying to get some like appropriate boulders or rocks. We've actually had a couple dropped off. We're still looking at that, but I don't know a timeline. Yep.
Is it something that maybe we would wait till spring when the ground thaws?
With
or-
kind of the weather now, even if we order the plaque and get it in, it probably would be better to do it in the spring to make sure anything we use sets up properly.
And it would be nice if
sometimes-
we had some kind of a ceremony.
Sure.
The city.
We can do that, yep.
Yeah. I think there's a consensus by the council. It'd be nice to have some kind of a ceremony to.
Yeah, I'm sure Jim and I and Margot will need to kind of take a look. Like I said, there's been a couple rocks/boulders dropped off at DPW, and we have some different options. And once we get that fixed, we'll be able to make sure the holes are drilled correctly for mounting, and maybe this spring, put it.
There's 4 boulders up in where we took the house down. There's 4 pretty good sized boulders up there on Main Street also, so. Okay, all in favor of the motion, signify by say, and everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Tongue-tied. Motion does pass if I hadn't done that already. Okay, we move on to miscellaneous from city manager, sir.
I have nothing tonight.
Okay, moving on to council comments. Rob?
I just think DPW, bang-up job getting those streets cleared and salted. Big difference driving through the city than going in the other directions. So nice job, boys.
John?
I have nothing tonight.
Nothing, thank you.
Jamie?
Nothing, sir.
Michael?
Yes.
Michael. I'm looking at Dennis.
No, nothing.
Michael, his older brother. Mike. Yes, Dennis. Anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to recognize that during the meeting that our House of Representative for District 33, Jeff Yark, joined us. Also reminded me that leads up to the Michigan Municipal League Capital Conference, which is in March of every year. So that's coming up on the 19th and 20th of March. So think about it if you're interested in going. Let the administration know. I usually try to go because I can stay somewhere close by without any expense. So that's coming up too. So go there, get your questions ready, and
That'd be a good thing to have in
grill our friend.
our weekly update.
Sure.
Find out if anybody would like to go to that. Very good. Okay, one of the things I have is in I believe our informational items on Friday that we got from the city manager, that our chief of police is now on an executive board. You've been elected to an what board is that?
The Macomb County Chiefs of Police Association, so.
Very good, very good.
Yep.
Is that like for X amount of time, like so many
You start out as the secretary, then treasurer, vice president, and president. So it's, once you get in, you're automatic, well, not automatically, but obviously, but that's the general direction.
Okay.
Hopefully I'll be heading, so,
So is this like for 4 years, or?
yeah. That's fine. Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
Well, good, chief.
Fantastic.
I did hear long-term commitment to him.
Yes, he has, absolutely. Okay, let's go to the calendar. Today being the 21st, we, of course, have started our quarterly workshop at 6 o'clock. We'll be going back in to discuss our goals and objectives again. These quarterly workshops are always open to the public and held here at City Hall. TIFA will be meeting on the 23rd, right here at City Hall at 7 o'clock. We will be having Michigan Municipal League training on the 31st here at City Hall from 6 to 9 for council and members of the city, and a few other that we've been able to invite from the community. The next regular scheduled city council meeting will be on February 4th at 7 o'clock. The reminder, the Richmond Good Old Winter Days at BB Park will be on the 9th, a one-day event, along with the chili cook-off and many other events. And also, the city calendar says that the Historical Society's Winter Festival building's open. It states that it will be on Sunday the 10th, and they have moved that over to Saturday the 9th to go along with the Good Old Winter Days. And that's it. Is there anything else that we need to add? I have no advertisements here for anything tonight from any of the organizations. Okay, we'll move on. There is no closed session. Is there any other business of the City Council this evening? Being not, motion to adjourn will be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. There's no discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Thank you for being with us.